beginning point. Hi, everyone. I'm Mattie April,
And I'm April Pancos, and we're your local Chester County Realtors.
the Pancos and Yaka Group.
Today, we're sitting down with Kevin Thompson of the Green Valley Group. Kevin, will you tell us a little bit about what you do at the Green Valley Group?
Yes, good morning. I am the owner and senior inspector of the Green Valley Group. We're a multi-inspector firm, providing everything from basic home inspections, stucco inspections, forensics, water intrusion testing, you name it.
Forensics. Ooh, like what is it? FBI, all that stuff people like to watch.
It's close, but it's just figuring out why a house isn't working, mostly the building envelope. So we assist in helping to deconstruct some of those houses and figure out why those problems are occurring.
Everyone watching now, make sure that you like and subscribe so that you don't miss any other of our interviews with our local industry professionals. Go ahead, April.
So let's dive in with Kevin. Kevin, so many homebuyers are waiving their home inspection contingency. Why is this a problem in the industry, and what are you seeing happening behind the scenes?
So I'm going to post a question back to you. How hard is it as an agent to have your clients waive inspections? Meaning the pressure that you feel. I mean, your clients are out there and I get it. I get it that, we don't have to get into, industry specifics as to why people are doing it, but how hard is it and stressful as an agent to have your clients waive inspections? And, their question is, well, right, should I buy this house?
It's horrible because we always sit down and do buyer consults, and everyone always starts with, I want my home inspection. And we say, yes, and you should have your home inspection. And we will help tailor your offer however we can so that your offer can be accepted with the home inspection. But then once they can continue to compete and they're 3 offers deep and they don't get accepted, they're like, I just want to waive it. Like, that's what's beating it. And we tell them there's, you can, but you never know what's going to happen. And then we tell them all the stories that you've told us.
So it's tough, right? It is tough. It's tough on everyone. And believe it or not, the home inspection, and I'll share a couple stories, is the home inspection helps to protect everyone. So not just the buyer, right? So it's, yes, the buyer's information helps to ease, buyer's agent mind, because it's like your client knows what they're investing in, but it also helps to protect the seller and listing agent. And most don't think about that is there's another wave coming, which is those that have waived inspections, they didn't waive seller's disclosure. So they may move in and find some things and maybe go back to the seller's disclosure. But I think it helps to ease everyone's mind having that home inspection on both sides. And I get it, it's appealing from a seller and saying, hey, that's one less hurdle in the way. But in reality, it really does help to protect and look out after everyone. Why you get it, those reasons are obvious, right? What if there's things that are, a little bit bigger things in the home that you may have to spend money on? I'll tell you 2 stories. And, even if you do, I get it, if you have to end up waiving inspections, it's your dream home, you got to do it. Get one after, like get one when you do actually possess the property, because you're going to have a punch list or things to do. You want to jump on top of it. But 2 stories. One, a lady had called and she had housewarming party. Family was on the deck, no inspections, right? Everyone's out there, they're grilling, they're having a great time, and the deck fell off of the house. So grill goes flying, family members are down. Luckily, no one got hurt, but that prompted in her mind, she's like, well, hey, after the fact, can you come inspect the house because, this happened. And sure enough, other things were brought up and she's now, doing repairs. But that's why we encourage to get it done after, even if you waive it, get it done, because what if there's safety things? we found in one a water heater exhaust pipe that was just completely disconnected and blowing into the house. Things like that
Horrible.
to know about as a homeowner. So definitely get one. The one that takes the cake is there's a house that had been, and we'll get into, potentially stucco questions, but there's house had been remediated of stucco maybe a month prior. So brand new siding, and feeling comfortable that was done. No red flags in seller's disclosure. They waived inspections. Lo and behold, the remediation contractor that did it didn't do a good job. So a month, they didn't fix any rot, didn't pull windows, didn't flash windows properly. It looked pretty on the outside. And unfortunately, that buyer then had to turn around and spend another $150,000 to fix their house that they just bought that they thought was redone.
That's horrible.
Mold, but they thought that was all done. And here, it wasn't done well at all.
Wow.
That's a scary one.
Yeah. Yeah.
And that all would have been picked up on had they had inspections.
Yeah. So what does a stucco inspection look like, since you just told that story?
So, stucco inspections, they've been around for a long time. So, we've been doing them for probably at least 15 years. A stucco inspection, to really do one well, you need to be invasive. So, there's a process called moisture probe testing. And the reason you need to be invasive is because we can't see behind the stucco. We can't see it. So no amount of visual can really tell you the home's condition. Yes, there's sometimes you can get some signs, but I would say 85% of the time you don't see anything internally. And so you go through a process of moisture probe testing. I think there's a video out there somewhere, maybe on our website, that goes through the process of that. Little small holes and testing procedures. The key location is where to test. That's a big separator in the industry. But you've got to go through that process, which includes visual moisture probe testing, mapping out the house. That's where you can really tell performance. And the reasons people get them, it can be expensive to fix. And so it's definitely one of those things that most don't skip.
So if we had a buyer who wanted a stucco test, they would reach out to you, and then don't they need to get a form signed or?
Yes. So that is, obviously sellers, like a home inspection is visual, non-invasive. Well, a stucco inspection is invasive. So we do need to get, we and anybody really need to get the seller's permission to do that testing.
Kevin, I just want to back it up for a minute. We have so many transplants coming to Chester County from other areas. And I know a lot of people who have been in Chester County for a while are really familiar with the stucco issues in the area, but we help a lot of buyers from out of town who have no idea that this is even an issue at all. So can you talk a little bit about why stucco is a huge issue here in Chester County?
So Chester County was dubbed the stucco failure capital of the world.
Wow. Didn't know that.
So by those much bigger than me, there's some brilliant minds out there. They dubbed that, I think, way back 2006. But that's also the power of linking up with a local and knowledgeable agent, right? Is that they may not know, but you and local inspector are going to know those ins and outs. Just like if I went to Hawaii and bought a house, I don't know what's to look out for there. Same thing. So coming here, and really that just knowledge is power. So your question, they may not know, but they're going to link up with great agents like yourself. You're going to let them know, here's what we have. You're putting an offer and they may not know, and you need to go, here's one more inspection, and cost item you need to consider. And here's why, because of the risk of hidden damage. Why are we the stucco capital failure of, the world or US is we have so many stucco houses and we had a ton of them built. I will say that a lot of those have been repaired. I mean, we went through the last decade where builders and everybody just repairing and remediating these houses and homeowners. So the number of them are down. But one thing to bring up, so builders aren't building, I haven't seen a new stucco house built in a long time, new construction. But what they do have is lumpy stucco. So it's that adhered stone veneer, that fake stone that's on the house.
Yep.
That is quote unquote lumpy stucco. It's the same application process, the same things can happen. So there is some new construction out there with it that needs to be inspected the same details.
Yeah, believe it or not, I actually was in an HOA recently where the seller was having their stucco remediated and the HOA was requiring them to put stucco back on the house.
Yeah, that's always a tough one.
Yeah, so that's the only stucco I've seen going up recently.
Yeah, that's a tough one to navigate. A lot, I'd say 10 years ago, 15, that was common, but now they've loosened a lot of them, not all, like you say, but a lot of loosened reins and say, because the homeowners complain, they're like, why am I going to go back with this and be subject to testing? It might be totally fine. And with that, stucco can be applied and done well. There's steps to do it, so it can perform. It's just you kind of have a bullseye on it, and you're subject to that testing if you do. So that's why a lot choose to go back with something else, and for all those reasons, usually less expensive. There's no stucco to deter a buyer potentially, or that inspection. Not saying that other claddings can't have an issue, but most don't go back with stucco.
Right.
Here's a question that I thought of, and you did this for one of our clients, but we didn't send you this question in advance. So people have new builds and they think like, oh, I have check-ins with the builders of the community that I'm having, but they never think that they can get a home inspection with someone else.
You mean like so for a home inspection for new construction?
Yes.
So there's two, I can't stress getting a home inspection enough on new construction. And even one farther is a pre-drywall inspection. So those are two to touch on.
Yes.
So the reason I stress new construction, it's typically because it's not because your heater's old or all that stuff's brand new. It's because things aren't either hooked up well or done well, and whether that's the outside like flashings and details that can allow water entry, again, heaters and sensors and switches. And the biggest one we see is builders not closing vents and they're running the HVAC when they're drywalling, and all of your duct work is and fan packed full of drywall dust. I mean, you're not going to buy a brand new car that's filthy, right?
No.
So that's one of the big ones that we see right there. I mean, your inspection pays for itself. So the inspections for new construction almost always pay for themselves. It's worth doing. The pre-drywall inspection part of that, if you can get one, is just that. It's an inspection before they drywall. And usually the insides and framing electric are usually pretty good because there's usually township inspectors that go through there. They're really looking at it. One thing they're not looking at is the exterior. That's where we find the most flaws, defects before siding goes on, how they flash windows, how they flash utilities. And you'd be surprised the amount of things that are noted that are easily corrected. I mean, easily. You're right there, you're looking at them, there's no siding, and they can correct those deficiencies before they become hidden. And, you find yourself 10, 15 years down the road and you have major water issues.
And many people think that because it's new construction, they don't need a home inspection like that, which is why I wanted you to stress the importance, because you did one for our client and we found out that they definitely needed one, and it was good that you came in there.
And
Yeah.
Kevin did more than one for that client. I think he did close to 10 for that client. And
Yeah.
that was a brand new construction, but issues kept popping up. So
Everything's fixable. It's just knowing what you've got and knowing what you're investing in. And they're becoming more and more popular. And I can't stress them enough. As you've experienced, I experience all the time, is there's usually things that just aren't done well. Or it's falls someone, I get it, different trades doing different jobs, and they're busy. I mean, they're hustling,
Yeah.
and maybe they forget to hook this up, or and it just fell off the radar. They're off to the next build, and but those things are important to catch.
right. So as a buyer walking through a home for just touring houses, what are some of the big things that they should be looking for when they're looking at a house, especially if they don't know anything about taking care of a house, maintenance of a house, or anything like that?
I got to ask the question, how much time on average are you getting right now for your like showing time?
30 to 45 minutes.
Yeah, tough, right? We had one the other day, they had 15 minutes.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's tough. So what can you look at in 15, 20, 30, 40 minutes? You're moving through that house pretty quickly. But I would say, starting off, do your homework before. So some of the big things you can look for even before you step in that house are, how old is the roof? How old are your utilities? So are your heaters ready to go? For instance, the common, like, houses that are 20 years old, right? Your roof is maybe on its way out, your heaters, your AC, those are things you can check off the list before you even step foot on the property. So what are the things that are going to cost you money? And if the seller, you can look at the seller's disclosure and figure out, oh, hey, yeah, they put a new roof on, they put a new heater on, they put AC in a year ago. Those are at least checked off the list for right now. If they weren't, then those are kind of things to look for. It's tough for a buyer. I mean, they're not inspectors, so what are you actually looking for? It's takes a specific eye, but I would say water staining. How well did someone care for the house? Bring a flashlight with you. You'd be surprised how many things come to light when you just shine a flashlight around the house. Different lighting can bring up different stains or past things. But other than that, that's why we encourage full home inspections, where a professional is in your house for 4 hours looking at these things, versus a homeowner for 30, 40 minutes. But do homework ahead of time, figure out how old things are, even like window condition. And I get it, it's tough because you're also there to see if you like the house, right? You're there, like, what's it look like? What's the layout? And you spend that right there, takes 30 to 40 minutes. You may not even have enough time to dive deep into how this is actually working and functioning, which that's our job. But it's tough these days, with especially the competing, as we first started with waiving inspections and so forth.
It is tough. So before we go, is there any other tips or another story that you would like to share?
Yeah, Kevin, I want to hear the craziest thing that you've seen as a home inspector. I know you have like years and years of stories, but hit us with a good one.
I do. I'll tell you, this wasn't necessarily a find. Well, it was a find in a home inspection. So it's kind of more of a story. So I had to go I had to go pick up a radon test. Okay. And it was probably about 7 o'clock at night. It was an occupied home. Sellers, were out to dinner, and no problem, inspector, let yourself in. You've got lockbox code. We have a dog there. Okay. Dog is totally nice, no problem. Just let yourself in. Harmless. Golden retriever, right? Great. I love dogs. I live on a farm, so I usually have, unique animal smells that dogs love. And so arrive to the house, open the door, dog comes over, typical golden retriever, wagging the tail. I step in, totally fine. I mean, sweet dog. And I walk over, the basement door wasn't far away, and I walk over, shuffle over, And, the dog's getting close. He's kind of timid. And I just held my hand out. I looked the other direction. And what happened? I had static electricity in my hand. And as soon as his nose came up to my hand, pow, it shocked him right on the nose. Teeth out. I mean, coming for blood. And I was going down the basement steps. I closed the door. And I mean, this dog is just going at this door like I just tried to hurt him. And it was just static electricity. So now I get the radon set and I go back upstairs. I open the door. I mean, this thing is ready, just launching at me, like teeth growling. I'm like, oh my goodness, I'm stuck in this house. There's no basement exit. And I'm trying to get out. I was like, what am I going to do? I luckily, because it was late, I had a snack in my pocket. I had crackers. So I flicked a cracker under the door, and he stopped growling for a second and ate it. And I was like, all right, he likes crackers. So I took another one, and this was like I only had two. So I had a cracker. I cracked the door enough to get my hand out, and I threw the cracker across the room, and he went after it, and I ran. I booked it for the front door, and certain enough, he grabbed the cracker. I mean, beeline to me, ready for it. And I snuck out the front door. I was like, all right, I'm done. I'm done.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Your only other options: stay in the basement till the sellers come home, or call them and interrupt their dinner.
Yeah, it was like sweetest dog, but like static electricity got him for me walking across the carpet like through there. And I was like, I didn't mean to hurt you. I didn't mean to hurt you. Please let me go.
I love that it was a golden because
they're the sweetest dog.
Yeah. Oh my gosh, that is hilarious.
Oh my goodness.
And I tried to tell like the seller, I was like, yeah, by the way, because we went back there and it's like, yeah, your dog is kind of pretty upset at me. And they're like, no way. He's the sweetest dog ever. I was like, well, he's protecting your house. Put it that way.
Well, that's good.
And there's many more, yes, with like decades of doing this, but I think that's the one that comes to mind for sure.
Yeah. Well, thank you so much for taking the time to sit down with us today. And if anyone has questions, leave them in the comments and we will get them to Kevin. And make sure if you found this helpful that you like it and that you subscribe so that you don't miss any other videos with industry professionals.
Thank you.
Thank you so much, everyone.
Thanks.